just to let you guys kind of know like my background of playing Pokemon, I basically started playing when like Pokemon X and Y came out kind of competitively. So I've been doing these Discord like draft leagues for a while now. I did take a year off like right before I joined your guys' league, and the one thing is I like tried everything. When I first started playing, I was a real stally kind of person, so everyone hated me, of course. And then after that, I started to like try weather teams and just tried everything. And basically, I've tried everything, and I've came to this conclusion that the way that I build a team through the draft now isn't, how did I say it? Wouldn't be the best team to actually win a championship, but it's also been the most solid way. So basically, my thought process of building his team is to build to be able to beat every team, and sometimes that puts me into a championship where I have a good team, or sometimes it's just solid all the way around. Like if you've ever prepped for me, you've had to like think of like, okay, I can do this, but then he has this and he has this all the time. And that's what I try to do. And I stopped kind of I stopped kind of thinking about how people normally pick, because people would always tell me you have to have a dragon steel fairy type or water fire grass type as your cores and all this kind of stuff. And I started thinking about maybe I just need certain types of roles in to build a team. And that's what I've started doing, and it's been very successful for me. For one record that I had forever, and I pride myself, till I joined this league, I've never not made the playoffs. I've always made the playoffs till the first season of this league, where I went 5-5 and had like a plus 13 differential, and I just got like really unlucky. And I had some bad plays, of course, on myself to make not make the playoffs. And I've really enjoyed this league since, but I've been doing a lot better into it. So I think one of the reasons why I do good in league is I just build a solid all around team. I'm not like focusing on like one Pokemon and I'm just gonna make that Pokemon try to shine or stuff like that. Um, I do think the one thing when you like get into going to a draft league, or like you're gonna set up your draft, I think planning your draft is impossible. It really is. You like pigeonholed yourself so much. And I've had so many people like I would help them with draft, or they're telling me what they think. They're like, I want to get this Pokemon this round, this Pokemon the next, and this Pokemon. And then they'll go and that Pokemon's gone. And then they're like trying to figure out how to fix stuff. Or they'll go and the Pokemon's there that they want to play with. But then there's a superior Pokemon that's there that did not think it would ever fall to them at that spot. But they pass up on it just because they've already had a plan. And I've tried to not like kind of fall into that trap. And I really think people should go into basically any drafts with an open mind and to be able to change as the round goes and as the draft goes. So when you look at like some drafts and stuff, you'll obviously see high tier Pokemon and stuff, and we all know, since we've all played for a long time, or if you're new, you'll figure out like what Pokemon are generally good. And of course, they usually cost more points and stuff. So I like to, especially if you're in the later picks, don't plan on anything. Just don't plan on anything, and then when it gets to your pick, um, then pick that Pokemon then. So, do anyone in the chat right now? Do you guys have like a a draft pick that you're in the later round?
Your boy's ninth.
All right. So let's say
later than that, and I'm an 11.
all right, 11. I really like the back turns. I really do because I feel like you could get two high quality Pokemons. But like, let's just hypothetically say, as we're talking about the 19th tier Pokemon, for whatever reason, Dragonpult like falls to you at ninth or 11th. But you had no like you didn't think that Pokemon was gonna fall to you at all. So you're like, okay, let me I like what do you do? You should take the good Pokemon, but a lot of people mess themselves up. Um, so I like to on the first pick and then the second and third pick basically I like to just pick good quality Pokemon. So whatever like what I feel is good and everyone has a different play style and stuff. You want to pick that Pokemon and then start addressing um, what you want to do after that. And for me, it's I have like 16, which this makes it hard. There's 16 qualities I want from a Pokemon, and you only get like a team of 11. I think this season we get to go from 10 to 12, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Which I'm super excited because I always want more Pokemon because I find value out of like 1 point Pokemon all the time. And so the 16 like was it is it characteristic or the whatever I have 16 versions and basically it comes down to I need a Pokemon that is a defensive wall. And I mean like a legit defensive wall. Like he doesn't care about special attacks or anything. Like he has high defensive stuff right here. That's all I care about. And then I do the same thing for special wall. I go and I want someone that has a super special walls because Florges, Umbreon, like we've all at least once in our life been walled off by one of these like just really just like Blissey or Chansey, like these Pokemon that suck to go against, to be honest. And I like to have a defensive one and a special defense. And then the next
To call
one,
those omni switches
huh?
of just I like to call those omni switches of just don't need to tank a hit, you can pretty much unconditionally toss it in.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah, definitely. And it helps out so much because if you don't have that and you're trying to like say I didn't have like that good special wall and you're going against like I don't know, a choice spec Volcanion, it makes it real hard to be able to take those hits from that choice spec Volcanion unless somehow you have like a good typing to like resist it. But did that happen in your draft? So like just getting a special wall in general helps. And then my the next one is I just try to get a third defensive Pokemon that is both special and physical. So they don't have to be like way like 200 special defense or 200 defense, but it's a more even out stuff. Like I think a good Pokemon, like probably one of the best ones, is going to be Toxic Peck. Like something like that has great on both sides. I know Pukumuku's pretty good too, even though no one ever uses it. Um, because once you have that wall that or a defensive Pokemon that can do both special defense and physical defense, when you start to prep against, or when someone has to prep against you, they're mostly looking at the big walls, and then they don't know how to handle, like, oh, is he's gonna bring a physical defensive Toxapex or a special defensive Toxapex? So those are like three things I'm always looking for. And then, of course, my next thing is I need one special attacker, I need one physical attacker. And then after that, I like to have one mix attacker because it's the same thing with like that defensive wall that could do both. The fact that like someone like is Fernape, for instance, could come in here and you don't know what it is. You haven't scouted out, you haven't seen anything at all. The fact that he can click like I don't know, close combat or like fire blast, it puts the your opponent at a disadvantage because like let's say I'm assuming, and you should never assume in Pokemon. You should try to scout as much as possible. But let me just assume, like I'm gonna assume that this Fernape is a special attacking Fernape because the rest of his team is all physical attackers. So I throw in my Chansey. Then he CCs me, and then I'm dead. And I just lost my wall. And it sucks. So trying to find a like a champion that can do both special and physical is pretty cool. And Infernape's just one. I think like Hoopa's amazing at it. Hoopa qualifies for a lot of things, and I usually pick up Hoopa a lot. But you can always find Pokemon that you wouldn't even expect is pretty good on the physical side and special side. Like Dragonite's actually pretty good. Salamence is good. You could find other stuff. I've seen a special attacking Charizard Mega X, and it destroyed me one game, and it was the most hilarious thing ever. But so just having that mix attacker helps, and it helps. It not only helps you, but it makes people prepping against you super hard because they don't know what to do. And then after you get done with like your walls and your special attackers, you always have to have hazards. So someone that could put in hazards. I try to at least have two. I've been on teams where I only had one person putting on hazards, and the problem with that is the people that prep against you, they know that Pokemon's coming. They're like, all right, he wants hazards against my team because I don't know, I have a Pokemon that's weak to rocks, or I want to keep my Focus Sash and stuff like that, and it just chip damage and stuff. So if he knows that Pokemon has to come with that, that's a disadvantage to you. So you try to at least try to have two of them. And then Hazel removers, I try to have two of them as well for the same thing. I don't want them to know which ones it's coming. I will say I've been in a lot of seasons where I've only had one, and it's mostly defog because all the rapid spinners. Me personally, I only think there's like 3 good rapid spinners. But and you kind of want to assess all your team on which you want. Defog is just so easy because it seems like every Pokemon has defog now. But if you have stuff like a Sticky Webber on your team, you kind of want a Rapid Spinner instead, just so you keep your webs up and stuff, and you're not getting rid of your stuff. Or if you're gonna set up a bunch of screens, actually, can you defog your own screens away now?
No.
No. Okay. Let's see. Okay. And then I think one of the most after that, I think this is where people actually like. I don't see enough of this in teams, and these are wall breakers. And I'm a big believer that you need a special wall breaker and a physical wall breaker. You have to have both. You can't have one. And they don't have to be like high tier Pokemon. Like that's one thing that I see in our draft league. I always find low tier Pokemon that are wall breakers that people don't know. A lot of my teams, I have where is he? I think he's Ursaring. Ursaring is amazing. Like when he has that guts, and I think his attack's like 130. You get the guts, you get the stab facade, you get the boost from being burned for facade, and it's like it's a normal. So you're always gonna hit everything really pretty hard. If not, I believe he has good coverage. He does. He has crunch for like ghost Pokemon and stuff, and people sleep on him. Like that kind of damage just destroys people, and you get them for 3 points. And that goes for other Pokemon like Slacking's. His attack's like 160. He's only 2 points on here. He's also pretty fast, and I know he has a really bad ability, but you can play around that. You really can. Like, don't let like bad abilities shy you away from strong stats and stuff. But there's other Pokemon. I think Magmortar's down here. It hits really hard as well. Um, you want to explode. I think it is. Yeah, explode. That thing hits really loud, really hard as well. Really loud. You want that because it does put your your opponent at a disadvantage if they want to play certain play styles, because it's it's really difficult to go against a stall team. And for someone who played it for like 3 years straight and was really good with it, like if you don't have a wall breaker, you're really gonna have like a hard time. And usually the higher tier Pokemon are really good. Like to me, Landorus T, I don't it like Landorus T used to be like a top five Pokemon, and for whatever reason, it fell down. But the fact that his base attack is 145, I think, and he has Earthquake that's stab, 100 accuracy. It's like it's really good. Same thing with someone like a Bucephalon, especially I think it's special attacks like 150 something, and if it gets going, like it gets one kill, now it just has a boost. Same thing with Haxorus. Haxorus is really dangerous, super high attack. It also gets access to Dragon Dance. It's just you put your team, your opponent in a bind when you have those type of Pokemon, because your the defensive Pokemon usually can't handle them. That's why they're called wall breakers. And if you play it right, those Pokemon can take out two of their Pokemon. And at the end of the day, you're just trying to scheme up your team where one Pokemon can kill at least two, and the rest of them can go 1-for-1 to win. And you want to try to have a special one and a physical one. The only reason for is to make it harder for your opponent to know what you're gonna bring. Like they can bring the special one, they can bring a physical one. You're just trying to put your opponent in a bind as you're drafting. The next, so that'd be 10 that I've talked about. The next one at 11 is a cleric. It's I've always struggled in my teams if I didn't have a true cleric. And when I mean a true cleric, I mean someone that has wish and heal bell. All right, those things are tremendous, and there's some Pokemon that are better than others with it. Like if you get Chansey and you wish, you're basically full healing your whole team. All right, you want the heal bell or the aromatherapy because you don't want to be burned. Like when I go against physical attacking Pokemon, I usually have a flame body Pokemon on my team, especially with heavy duty boots. Like made Moltres amazing, and it's kind of helped out Talonflame too. But with the ability Flame Body, it's just like I like to burn people. And if your carry, like your Mega Lopunny or your Gallade is burn, and they aren't some kind of mixed attacker, which normally they aren't, that just sucks. Like it's almost worthless at that time, and you don't want that to happen to you. And say if you have a defensive Pokemon, which I hate playing with a defensive Pokemon that doesn't have like recover, slack off, or something. But if you don't have one, that wish helps out so much, because now you just made that defensive wall. Like now I gotta deal with it again. I don't want to do that. No one wants to deal with that. Now this is something. The next Pokemon is a support Pokemon, and to me, Cleric and support are really close together. But the difference to me is like my support Pokemon is kind of like a trickster type Pokemon. It doesn't have to have Wish. It doesn't have to have Heal Bell, but it's more of a Pokemon that just helps out my team. And let's see, a good Pokemon that people don't understand the power of, and it's for 1 point, is just regular Lopunny. And Lopunny has been a great support Pokemon for me because it actually does have, I think, Heal Bell on it, but it has Switcheroo, and it has a great ability in Klutz where it makes it where the item doesn't work on them. So I'll put a Choice Scarf on Lopunny, but I'll be able to switch up moves, and then they don't know that I'm choice scarfed, and then they throw their Pokemon, and then I switch a room, and I just like basically made their, let's say, something like a one of their wall Pokemons, for instance, like a Toxapex. I just gave their Toxapex a choice scarf. Now they're gonna have trouble, you know, and that's what I mean by support Pokemon. Pokemon that can give me dual access to like reflect and light screen, Aurora Veil, uh, any Pokemon that helps with hazards or toxic spikes. I kind of consider them a support Pokemon. Pokemon with Healing Wish, that's really nice. Not all clerics have a Healing Wish, but someone like Lopunny, I know, 1 point, has Healing Wish. And I don't know how many games I have won because I've had like just the Choice Scarf Lopunny and a Healing Wish and brought back in that Pokemon to sweep the rest of the game where they thought it was over. You know? So a support Pokemon doesn't have to be a cleric. It's just something that helps out the team in a certain way or like somehow cripples the other team. You know, so Bronzon. Bronzon's a great one. A lot of screens. You can toxic people. It gets rocks. It could set up trick rooms and stuff like that. Um, so I'm trying to figure that. So that's the 12th one. The 11th one is a sweeper, and we all know what sweepers are. It's just a very fast Pokemon, usually something above 115 speed. I know the last couple generation has given us like super fast Pokemon now, so it's like you kind of need to be in the 130s now to be a sweeper, which I'm old school, so that's kind of like weird, but like just be able to outspeed stuff. And one thing I would advise people, like a lot of people be like, "Oh, this Pokemon's always it's like the fastest Pokemon." And I'm like, "That's cool. You should still choice scarf it." It's like, "Why? It's already fast." I'm like, "Because that's you won't have it fast, but someone will run a choice scarf to be faster than you. So what's the point of having the fastest Pokemon?" But a sweeper is just, you've already done all your damage with your tanks to chip people, your wall breakers to break down walls, and then you just have that sweeper at the end to come in. Um, let's see. One thing I always like, another quality I like in my Pokemon would be a priority moves, because you never know when you need a priority moves. One Pokemon that's always given me trouble throughout like the whole thing is Mega Diancie, and I usually don't have good physical walls or special walls to take care of it, because the fact that it is a mix attacker with a hard hitting physical rock move, and then it has great special attack with good stab special attack moves. So that's a Pokemon that always give me in trouble. But I've always seemed to have one Pokemon on a team that knows Bullet Punch, just because of Diancie. So try to make sure you have like one or two priority moves. It always helps out in a pinch. It helps out with certain type of Pokemon like that. Um, the next one would be setup Pokemon. Like I I always have some kind of setup Pokemon, but I hardly use it. But it's real good to have it. So let's say, for example, Clefable. So Clefable, it has a Magic Guard, and it has Cosmic Power, it has Store Power, it has Calm Mind, and all that kind of stuff. But it also has like Unaware and stuff like that. So uh, drafting a Pokemon like that makes it difficult for your opponent, because now they also have to, in their plan, come up, okay, how do I stop this Confable from setting up to me and killing me, or just sweeping my team? Or how do I stop this Volcarona, right? Volcarona to like set up on me and just win the game. And that's what you want to do. Like, you want to have Pokemon like that that makes it hard, or makes it harder for your opponent to prep against. For me personally, a Pokemon that keeps on beating me, and it's because I keep on forgetting for some stupid reason that Slurpup gets Belly Drum, and then he has Unburden, and it's like It's crazy. I don't know why I keep on forgetting that kind of stuff, but so it just makes it harder. And the cool thing about it too is if you do bring it and say the other guy doesn't play perfectly and their only check for it somehow gets chipped because they need to use it for another Pokemon rush, you could still just sweep with it. So set up Pokemon good, and then the last thing that I've really started over the last 3 years trying to acquire into my team, which I've when it when it first was like being introduced to me, and people I was like, I don't really see the point. Pivot, just being able to pivot. Like I think one of my favorite teams that I've had of all time was I think a couple seasons ago in this league where I had Tapu Koko and I think Landorus, and I would just volt switch, U turn, and I'm sure I had like Savali too, parting shot. It's so frustrating to deal with those types of Pokemon that just keep on pivoting and keeps on getting the upper hand, especially now since like was it Rocky since we have Rocky, is it Rocky Boots? That's what it's called. I think it's yeah. So
Rocky helmet or
no,
where
where's the boots that makes it where you don't take any damage from
heavy
hazards?
duty boots.
Heavy duty boots, yeah. So definitely now that you can put in there and you don't take chip, like with Tornadus, you just go in there and you never take chips and you just regenerate, pivot. It's just it's now like my friend has showed me, and now I'm like, okay, yeah, it's really good. It's really frustrating to play against too, against people that don't know how to handle it and stuff like that. So those are the 16 like kind of characteristics that I want from Pokemon, and that's kind of how I build my team. I build it through characteristics and not like through other stuff like I said, the core stuff, because for me I've learned like honestly you don't need a dragon steel fairy core. And my whole thing was too, it's like I do believe you need a steel and fairy because you need a steel and fairy to check dragons. But dragons, since the introduction of fairies, aren't that important to me. Now they have tremendous powers, but as long as I have like a fairy or a steel to kind of check it, I can live with not having a dragon on my team, and that just opens up where I can use something else, or I'm not forced because everyone took all the good dragons, that I'm not forced to go play with something like Drudagon or something. Not saying Drudagon's good bad, because it gets glare and it gets rock and rough skins and stuff like that. I get it, but like you're not being pigeonholed into that kind of stuff, and then you can just kind of do. Now I say there's 16 characteristics. The hard part is getting all 16 characteristics into your team. And then I do a good job at trying to cover up my typings. So as I'm going through there and I'm picking my team, then I'm looking at the typing I want. And the only reason I don't like I try to have typings is just to make it harder for someone to prep, because I've seen teams, and then I might have like I think it was last season. Last season I forgot who it was. He didn't have a ground Pokemon on his team, so I think I came with like Choice Specs Jolteon, and I just clicked Volt Switch and Thunderbolt the whole game and won. And I told him after the game, it's like, hey, you really need to pick up a ground Pokemon. And he was mad because it was after a game and he lost and stuff, and I get that, and I wasn't trying to be like a dick or anything. I was just trying to like some of those things you have to have, and that makes it like real important. So to me, like having a Pokemon like a electric Pokemon that can Volt Switch, you want that on your team, because if someone doesn't have a ground type, you just you get free damage off for free. Most electric Pokemon have Volt Switch. Most electric Pokemon are pretty fast, and this is something that you want. And it's the same concept as you want a ground type. You want a ground type, so you just can't have someone just hitting you for free off of Volt Switching. Like it's like you have to think about those kind of things as you're building. So uh, what else? There's, I think, so, that's those are what I'm looking for as I'm doing it, and the way how I do it is basically so I think I forget what I pick. I think I'm like pick seventh or eighth. I think in our thing. So this would be kind of my plan. I'll kind of like go through my thought process. For me, around that seventh spot, I'm just gonna see what falls to me. And hypothetically, let's say Coco falls to me because Coco fell to me like 2 seasons ago. At seven, I was like, that's insane. I'm gonna take Coco because Coco's there. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I have Coco. Then I get to the second thing. Now on the second round, I don't worry about trying to help Coco out. Basically, at that point, I just want to know what's the next best Pokemon, and I just want to make sure it doesn't match what Coco already brings to my team. And the cool thing about Coco is Coco fits a couple different roles because Coco can be that sweeper, Coco could be that special attacker, Coco can be a mix attacker, Coco can be a support champion too. It's a pivot, and I believe you can set up with it. So like that's why Coco's like rated so high because it does all that. Oh, it also gets defog too. Man, Coco's really good, and I hated it when it first came out. I thought it wasn't that good. I was so wrong. But so after I get that, I'm like, okay, so let me figure out something that's shouldn't be on the board right now. That it's pretty good, and let me get that on my team. So since Coco fits so many of those things, I would probably want to go with like a super good like a wall Pokemon. And if Clefable was out there, I would probably try to stay away from Clefable because I already have that fairy type. So this is when you start thinking about like the typing. So I already have the electric and the fairy. So what's another good wall Pokemon? And you keep on going. You just keep on going through like that. Toxapex would be good. So like let's say happily I take Toxapex. All right, because it gives me that where it can be both physical or special default, and now I have Coco. Now, after seeing both of those, my thoughts in my head would be okay. Now I do have a weakness already developing in being weak to like earthquake, so I need to address that at some time, and that's either going to be through like a grass type, a bug type, or a flying type, and then I want to see what's out there. Okay, uh, and the first thing I'm going to do in round three is I'm still not going to totally go for that. I just need to recognize I need that. Now, if I could find a Pokemon that fits, that helps me out with that and something else, then I'll start looking at it. So let's see. Maybe like for instance, if another high tier Pokemon fell down to the third round, which probably won't happen, but sometimes does happen. Like if Tornadus T there, so I can have double generators, and then it's immune to Earthquake. That'd be good. Or so happily, someone like Hydreigon comes. Hydreigon has the levitate. It's I think resist and immune to all Toxapex stuff, and then you start to get that dragon stuff, and then Hydreigon could do a lot of stuff for you too because it can, set up, be a special attacker for you, just a regular one, it's like that. So as you keep on going down, you start to do that way. So don't, and then so basically after the first three rounds, just try to pick the best Pokemon. Then after that, then is when you want to start mixing and matching stuff. So once you start getting that, then you start to see, okay, I need to cover this weakness, but I also need this on my team. Like I need a cleric. And then you can start forming a plan. So after the third round, now you can go down on paper and be like, okay, I kind of want this Pokemon and this Pokemon. And you can like write down the 12 Pokemon you want for your team after you have three, because now you have like an actual vision of where your Pokemon going because you have these Pokemon already. And what you do is, or what I personally do, is I have those Pokemon on there, and then I put a replacement Pokemon right next to them. So if that Pokemon does get taken, because as you get later in the draft, people have less and less points, and when you get down to the thing, there's a lot more Pokemon, and not everyone, like not all these Pokemon are going to get taken from the dock. So you just start fitting these in the categories that you need. Like, do I need another sweeper? Personally, for me, for speed tiers, I like to have three Pokemon over 100. I like to have one like one at least 101 higher, have one at 120 and higher, and then I try to get one of those elite speed ones that are like 135 and higher because it just helps with the speed tiers and stuff like that. And you can find decent Pokemon at no points. Like you can play with a Baltic with 4 points to give you kind of what you need in a pivoted, someone a sweeper, someone that can just come in and I'm pretty sure Baltic can be a special attacker, even though it has better physical moves. It's kind of like Zebstrika and stuff like that. I mean, Lopunny's I think 104 or 105 speed. Slakeen's 100 speed. Like you could find decent fast Pokemon. Now the problem with these Pokemon, why they're so low tier, is that they only have like kind of one avenue. Like when I prep against these Pokemon, I know what these Pokemon are gonna do. Like I play with Floatzel a lot of times because Floatzel's 115 speed, and I think it's like only 4 or 3 points most of the time. But 115 speed is pretty good, and it has decent attack if I remember. Typhlosion's fast. Sceptile, Sceptile's really fast. So you just think about like if I need a sweeper, I don't need someone with great coverage. I need that. But it also just depends on how much points you put up in the higher tier Pokemon. Like I said, if you get a Fernape's a great mix attacker and it's pretty fast. Kartana, great sweeper, great physical attacker, great special wall. Like it's pretty good Pokemon, and that's kind of how I work through my thing, and being like me telling you guys in probably the worst way. But do you guys have like any questions or like any answers to or like contradiction?
I have questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
So-
kind of logging them in the no mic chat as we were going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is your list in like do you place higher priority on any of the attributes than others? So you have like the walls at the top. So are you like looking for walls first and foremost, or
Okay. So in my mind, okay, I've always played Pokemon in a defensive way, and I've like kind of like gotten better as I go, so I play more offensively now than what I do. So I do kind of prioritize walls, but I don't think you have to because some of my other friends that I played with in the past have shown me what like offensive pressure can do for a team. But I will say this like I think one misunderstanding that people have about Pokemon is they'll just say some Pokemon are trash. And I think if people think that some Pokemon are trash, they're going about it the wrong way. I honestly, I have this stupid thought in my head that I think any Pokemon can be really good if you can like figure out what's its strength and use it to that thing. So basically, with a wall Pokemon, like even though like me personally, and like you don't have to feel this way. So what I'm saying, but so me personally, I know some low tier Pokemon that are pretty good walls that people don't play with. And so I wouldn't say I prioritize it because I want to get one of the best wall Pokemons that are up like that cost a lot of points. It just kind of goes with the flow, like I've been trying to say, the flow of the draft. Like if I see an outstanding Pokemon that is an offensive Pokemon, I want to take that good Pokemon. you know, and then if that means I have to have less points, I'll find a lower tier Pokemon that could be a wall. Because I remember there's one draft. I think it was great because it was the funnest, probably the funnest season I ever had. And me and my friend, we co-host a team, and we did a Sun team. And Sun team's like the worst weather team. And we had so much fun, and we got to found out the power of Licky Licky. And back then, Licky Licky was like a 3-point champion. And when we got to play with it, I was like, oh my god, this thing could do so much for us. So I just feel like you can find. I so I don't think there's a priority as in when to pick it. Like, oh, I have to get a good defensive wall to hold my team. But I'm also saying you can go get a good defensive wall that is super hard to prep for. You know, like I don't.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then my one other one was a buddy of mine endorses, kind of like you were saying, you just get the best thing available that covers a role that you don't have. And he says do that for the first 6 picks. So what's your take on that?
So I honestly, I would not be against that because I know I said 3. Uh, just for my brain set, I'm kind of like I like stuff to be organized and stuff, and I like to have a plan. So like going halfway through a draft and being like, okay, I gotta leave my last. Like if you were in a 11 Pokemon league, I'm like I only have 5 Pokemon to try to glue all this together. It kind of like freaks me out a little bit, but I can see where like you can go just legit pick the 6 best Pokemon that you see on there, and then we can go find something. So it kind of just comes down to preference. To that kind of like, if you're a need like a clean freak or something like that, like I am kind of, then you want more structure a little bit sooner. But if you're not, you're a free going person, you're like, you know what, we're gonna roll with this and it's gonna be good, you know, then that's
Sure.
that's good. Yeah,
All right, yeah, those were my two.
yeah.
I also had like one that I thought of.
Uh
Oh, I thought it. Never mind. I thought I had come up with something
huh.
more specific.
It could be broad.
Although this one, well, actually, this one is sort of specifically related to a personal favorite of mine. You were talking about the importance of wall breakers and whatnot. I'm then obligated to ask, what are your thoughts on Staraptor?
Star Raptor is so underrated. Oh my god, I like. I don't know. So, at least in our league, like the one that we do here, we do a point tier thing. But like I've honestly seen Star Raptor in like a where it's goes was it like I forget like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 like that. I've seen Star Raptor fall down to tier 3 and one league tier 4. I'm like, what are you guys like? This is crazy. You not know the power of this Pokemon? And it's 100 speed. It has great attacks. What's is it? Reckless. Its ability.
Yep.
Yeah. No, those are great. I've one.
Yeah.
So one of my closest friends taught me the power of Star Raptor. And even though I don't play with it that much, and I think the reason I don't play with that much is I tend to take other kind of flying types, or yeah, mostly it's flying types. I try to take other kinds, but I think it's amazing. Like that, just like all these like you could tell me a Pokemon, and I'd probably tell you it's not bad.
I did actually remember what my
Okay.
more relevant question was. So, the you touched on it a little bit, but your Coco Lando team from a couple seasons back,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of in my head, that ended up being kind of, for lack of better phrasing, like one of the grossest teams I've ever seen put
That was
together.
the most bullshit team I have ever had to prep for in my life.
Oh God, it was.
Yeah.
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 I think
So,
did I have
I
Mega
guess-
Venusaur too on that team?
Yes.
Like,
It,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
it was
I had to help
Coco,
Spencer.
Lando, Venusaur, Milotic, Umbreon
Umbreon.
were
Valley.
Hey, that
and then Ursaring or something, I think.
that was my first time ever using Milotic. And did I
Yeah.
instantly fall in love with that Pokemon? Yes. I was like,
That was
So
awful.
yeah.
kind of, I guess, for something that ended up being so just incredibly potent, how I do you remember sort of how that team came together?
Yes,
Like, was
yes.
that just sort of
No, so
happenstance, or yeah?
so basically it's exactly what I talked about like right now. So I think I was picked like 7 or 8, and usually Coco's always went in the top 3 of all the drafts I've ever been to. I know like the new generation they've added new Pokemon, so it kind of pushed it down. But so when it was like my pick, I saw Coco there. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take Coco. I'm like, that's cool. And then in the second round, coming round to me, Landorus is there, and the community for whatever reason has like really put down Lando T so far because it used to be a top 3 pick as well. And people was like, well, it's not good anymore. It doesn't have Z moves. And I'm kind of old school. I was like, I played before Z moves, and this thing was a monster. So I was like, the fact that we don't have hidden power ice anymore, I was like, this makes Lando T even better. Like, I saw this as a top 3 Pokemon, and it fell to me in the second round. And I was like, oh, I had to take that. So to me, just me doing that, I was like, okay, I pick up Coco because it's really good. And then I get in the second round, I'm like, why is Lando T here? And then I was like, I'm just going to pick it up. And then after that, I think my next pick was something like, I think it was Mega Venusaur,
I,
maybe.
yeah, I think I've got the doc in my archive thing, so I can find it real quick.
And I was thinking, I was like, having something like Coco, it'd be nice to have a bulky Mon that can take sludge bombs, and just having Lando resist sludge bombs, and Venusaur does good against it. I know it's neutral. It's just Venusaur's stats are amazing to me, and you could build it whatever way. I just saw that, and then the same thing with Milotic. Like I've never ever thought to play with Milotic because usually when I play water Pokemon, it's something like Slowbro, Primarina, Volcanion, Gastrodon, Quagsire, Swampert,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I was just like, I want to see what this goes. So basically, it's like that whole draft came together because I didn't force myself. And I remember in
Mhm.
the past, I used to force myself. I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna get this Pokemon. I have all 12 of my Pokemon. They're all set up. And for the most part, I probably would always get like 90% of my Pokemon when I did it that way. But I started to realize that like I went through one season where Lando T didn't even get drafted. And this was when Lando T was good, and it was just because everyone in their mind was all like, I have this plan, I want to do this plan. And I get it, like you want to play with certain Pokemons, but a Pokemon like that should not be like dropped. Is that the order I did it? So I went Milotic afterwards. Nice. So Savali. So in my mind, this was my mind after I got Milotic, I remember I was like, okay, I have Flip Turn. I should get Savali to get the next pivot to go to parting shot. So I was like, if I do this, I can make everyone's life really hard. And I was thinking, okay, I just need to be defensive after that. So getting Mega Venusaur, getting the Bronzong, getting the Umbreon was really defensive to me. I was like, that should be good with what already I have. And then I was like, I need like absolutely wall breakers, and that's where I got the Bucephalon and the Ursaring. And Bucephalon, that that thing was that thing's really good. I think if you can use it right as a sweeper and to like break things at the end, it's really frustrating to deal with. So I in that thing I was like, okay, let me get this wall breaker and my sweeper at that time. And Ursaring, like I said in the past, I'm like, it's too low of points not to take something that's just that strong, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just sort of, oh hey, Coco's here. Oh hey, why the hell is Landorus here, and then what can I do to like
Yep.
make these two even more annoying.
Yep. Kind of. That's how it kind of went to. And then, yeah, and then Bucephalon's there in late draft, and that just shows you, like, in our. I honestly think, like, tier 14 and up, they're wonderful Pokemon. Like, really, like, outstanding Pokemon that could do multiple things and hit real hard and doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. So, but you honestly don't know what one of those Pokemon are going to fall to the late round because you don't know what the rest of the league is gonna pick, you know. So the fact that something like Bucephalon was there so late was awesome for me. I just pick it up,
Okay.
you know, because I could have done something else where I took some other like special attacker sweeper earlier, being like, well, or I mean later, be like, you know what, I have this plan. I'll pick up this Pokemon and then waste all my points. And then I was like, wow, this Pokemon's still here. If I would have known this, I would have done my whole draft differently. And you don't want to be like stuck in that situation, you know,
Yeah.
because then you do what I do sometimes, where I end up like, right after draft, all right, cut these three Pokemon, pick these three Pokemon. I lost all my transactions for the rest of the year. Yeah, I've
Fair
done
enough.
that. Yeah,
All right. Cool.
yeah, it's just that's what it is. I really preach just be flexible and stuff. Um, One other thing I would say is like the I like doing it this way, where it's more characteristics that you're looking for, because the other way of playing is, like I've said, like playing like a stall based, or playing like hyper offense, or playing like some kind of weather team or a trick room team. Now all those can be good and could see great success. Like we've all seen water teams, like rain teams, do real well. The only problem with those teams is that, as me personally, when I'm going to go play against those teams, I know exactly what that team's going to do. So it makes it real easy for my prep. All right. So as long as I don't like mess up against like a game like that or something, I know what's going to happen. I can prep against it and I'll be prepared. You know. So that's why I've kind of got away from playing those types of teams. And I think if you just try to build a solid team. Now, this is also what I'll say too. My team, like I've said, I've always basically, other than one season in my whole entire life, I've always made the playoffs. I've been to a lot of championships and lost a lot of champions. I have definitely lost a lot of championship games compared to winning games. All right, I've won some, but I've lost more, and I think it's because the teams that I build, they're kind of they're really vague, and they're really just like to cover stuff. So this one other team can possibly have a superior team to me because they've kind of went unorthodox. You know what I'm saying? And you see that like in sports teams all the time. Like I don't know if any of you guys are football fans. Like you see something like The Greatest Show on Turf, where their offense was just so good that it just carried everything, you know, and they did real good even though they weren't like balanced. Where me, I'm more of just trying to be good and balanced to make sure like the margin of errors in my favor, I guess. So the way I draft, I wouldn't specifically say you do this, you're guaranteed to be in the championship, you're gonna win and stuff like that. I just think it's the best like platform for just being good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like it's real consistent.
Yeah, super consistent, and that's kind of what I like. Even though I want to win, oh my god, I want to win. But yeah, yeah. Do you guys?
Okay, so I have a question. When you talk about adaptability, like the mixed users, is there too much? Is there a thing is too much adaptability? Like in a draft, having Mew, Silvally, and Infernape.
Okay. First of all, love Savali. Fernape's real good. Mew's really hard to use, I feel, but the right person could use it. I do. So I. That's kind of a hard question because honestly, in my mind, I would say no, because the more versatile Pokemon you have, the harder it is to prep for them. So I think you can have a great advantage by doing that. You just have to be a creative mind to be able to do it. Now, I will say this though. If you do have structured Pokemon on you, so basically like a linear Pokemon, like for instance, Alakazam, who's just a pure, fast, hard-hitting special attacker Pokemon. I know my Pokemon, I know my opponent knows I have that Pokemon, and I know what my opponent's going to do to try to make sure Alakazam doesn't sweep at the end. And the fact that I know what he has to do, because somehow he has to, if I have a Focus Sash, which you usually run on Magikarp, um, Alakazam, you know that at some point he has to find a way to break that sash and not get sweep. Or he has to think to myself, I cannot let that Pokemon get this below half health or Alakazam's going to beat it. And you kind of have an advantage when you do have a linear Pokemon because you know what your opponent has on his team and you know the only ways that he can beat it. So basically, like, I would look up and be like, okay, does one of his Pokemon get Fake Out? And be like, okay, that Pokemon does get Fake Out. Does that Pokemon get a priority move, or does another Pokemon get a priority move? Or I know that Pokemon's going to have a Choice Scarf because he has to outspeed Alakazam. So he needs to do a Fake Out and have a Pokemon that has a Choice Scarf. So you do kind of get a little bit of advantage when you do have a linear Pokemon. And if you can somehow fit that into your scheme when you like as you're drafting, like if you pick up a Pokemon um, like that and be like, okay, this is what teams have to do to beat this Pokemon. So I'm gonna have this Pokemon that helps out that, and that's where you're like your support Pokemon comes, or like some kind of counters and stuff. So I, this might be a cop out. So basically, I think you can do both ways. I think it just kind of depends on your personality type because I've seen real creative people do amazing things with like a lot of like mixed attackers and just Pokemon that bring a lot to the table and like doing different things. And you just always keep your opponent on their toes. So for instance, for me, I don't know if everyone does this. I literally, when I prep with someone, I watch every single one of their games. I watch from whatever week it is, say it's week 10, I watch all 9 games that they previously play, and I like to see what they do with all their Pokemon. So if I see that they only bring this Pokemon and they only bring one set and they only use it in one way, that's what I'm going to prep for. But if I see an opponent bring that one Pokemon and they have like 3 different sets or 4 different sets, then it's like, okay, how am I going to prep for all this? So I think it just becomes to your personality type. So you just kind of have to know who you are and go to whatever your strengths are and do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, hey, you could get crazy. Like, you could do some crazy stuff. It is fun to be crazy, too.
I unfortunately actually gotta go ahead and split. But thanks a lot for presenting, and obviously, I mean, like the rest of y'all are welcome to hang out. So,
Yeah. I had fun talking.